Inside Jacob was Israel. Inside every man is a spark. God spoke to that Israel inside Jacob, that spark known as Israel. And it still exists today when God spoke to that spark. Imagine your spark has a name. Are you listening? Your spark has a name. Your spark has a name, it has a title, it has a future, it has everything. That spark that God placed on the inside of you. When did that spark come? Well, the particular spark I'm talking about came at conception, at your conception. You know, there is a spark, and it's been proven now on video. There is a spark of electricity when that seed and that egg collide. It lights up, and it's just a spark like a light flashes. It's God. God has come to visit your baby shower. He's come. The spark has to be recognized. God recognizes it. And watch this. He tries all your and my life to get it from the inside of you to the outside of you. That spark He put in there when you were conceived. He tries all of your life to get that that's in you on to the outside of you. You know, let me say it this way. You know, they say this, and I was watching this on a science thing, and they said that even in mice, when the seed and egg collide, there's a spark that takes place. What is that? Well, it's the Lord. The Lord has deposited everything in that mouse to be a mouse, to its full ability. And you know, they can do things that you never dreamed they could do. They get their head through a hole, their whole body will go through that hole. They'll get in your house when you think your house is airtight. And they can, you know, but everything in that spark to be the fullest mouse it could be was put there. And the mouse don't have any qualms about being a mouse. He don't have anything in his thinking that hinders him from being that mouse. So he just climbs up walls, climbs up trees, can outrun cats, can do all this kind of stuff. He can just do these things because his mind don't talk him out of it. Now, in a human, which is far above a mouse, Jesus said a human is far above a sparrow. He said, you're worth many sparrows. So when that spark came into you, everything that it takes for you to be all the you, the success and the human and everything that you're supposed to be able to do was put in that spark. The only thing, the enemy knows this. He knows that it's hard to talk a mouse out of it because his brain is so tiny. But he can get into a human's head and start talking them out of being what God called them to be. And they get to thinking in their mind, I can't do this. I can't do this. Why, I can't have that kind of income. Why, I can't marry this kind of person. I can't have a new life. My family's been poor for all these. And all of them were hindered in their thinking because at that conception, God visited you. Now, I'm trying to, as we say, I'm endeavoring to get this across here. So he recognized and he tries all your life to get on the inside of you, from the inside of you to the outside, what he put in there. The enemy sees that spark flash in the middle of the darkness. Now, you have to understand something. Well, the darker something is, I know people say, well, we were born in sin, Brother Robin. Yes, that's true. Everyone was born in sin when they were born with a sin nature. But in the darkness, that flash is really seen. It's really seen because you could turn off everything until it's dark as the inside of a dinosaur, and then suddenly one little spark of light, and you couldn't hide it. I don't care what you do. And so when that spark comes, the enemy also saw that spark. Now you have to remember something. He sees the spark in the darkness. He knows that spark will be motivated forward and will be recognized by the creation if it can ever get outside. See, all of creation recognizes what God has called you to do. And if he can get a dark heart to use that spark for him, then he can actually use the power of light to get the things he wants. Did you understand that? Did everybody get that? That if he recognizes that spark, now, if he can keep that person away from Jesus all their life, that ability and that one little spark is still there. You see a lot of people use that on the dark side. And so the enemy knows that if he can ever get use of that spark without you using it for God, then he will use the power of light to get the things he wants. So he can use it to manipulate, to do things that spark was not meant to be used for. As electricity can be used by the good or the dark or the bad, so can the spark inside you. You see a lot of musicians, actors, gifted people, creative people, so forth, even in the business world or any other part of life. They're using their sparks for darkness, for their own fulfillment. Yet that spark was meant to be used for God's purpose and God's plan. So the way that happens you'll never know what that spark was made to, what he brought to you that day. You'll never know it till it's fullest. I've watched guitar players and musicians that are absolutely, phenomenal playing. Just almost phenomenal. And they don't even acknowledge God. The enemy's got them acknowledging the universe and the energy that comes out of plants and all this kind of stuff, some kind of new age thing, and yet that talent they have did not come from the enemy. The enemy's using that spark for his own good. And he'll use it inside his own plan, inside what he wants. And some of the best hidden lights in all the world are hidden in very dark places like nightclubs and bad movies and bad dark songwriting and dark business dealings and all kind of manipulative banking and all this kind of stuff. And all these were gifted people.